In this first test we are going to see which mobile boots faster and also which mobile opens up Google first. So I'm going to do my best to turn both of the mobiles on at the same time. Then I'm going to start the timer straight after. Start the timer. It looks like the HTC One is in the lead so far. And the HTC One has already opened up Google. Now we are just waiting for the Xperia Z to boot up so I can open up Google. As you can see, the HTC One has run by quite a bit. And stop. So it took the Xperia Z about 30 seconds to start up. And it probably took the HTC One around half that time. I need to check the video to find out the exact time. 30 seconds isn't really a long time to start a mobile, in all honesty. Though in terms of which mobile is faster to start up and open up the web browser, this test, this definitely goes to the HTC One. It seems to be faster at doing this. So that is pretty much it for the first test. The second test is going to be a speed test over Wi-Fi. You might not think that this is a big deal, though I personally do. In the past, I have tested my Galaxy Note 2, which has gotten around 30 megs a second, compared to a cheaper mobile phone, which has gotten around 10 megabytes a second. Some mobile phones definitely have better Wi-Fi coverage reception than others, and definitely download faster than others, which is why I am doing this test. In this video it will just be a Wi-Fi test since I'm not currently in a 4G LTE area. So for this video it's just going to be over Wi-Fi. I'm going to do them both separately so there's as much free bandwidth as possible for the test. To make things fair, I'm going to make sure they are both connected to the same server. As you can see, we are connected to Brisbane Yes Optus. It should also be the same on this mobile phone. Brisbane Yes Optus. The distance seems to be different on both of these. I don't know why, though they are definitely the same servers. So let's do the HTC One first. Okay, pretty low ping, which is good. A pretty good download speed, 35 megabits per second. And the upload speed will probably be around a meg, though that's typical of my internet connection, not really the device itself. Okay, and 1.37 megabits per second upload, I'm quite happy with that. Now let's try it on the Xperia Z. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I've been having quite a few major Wi-Fi issues with the Xperia Z, though it seems to be working now, which is good, though I have had quite a few connectivity issues with it, connecting to the Play Store and, basically in other apps, just won't load certain things. And I have Googled the issue and it seems to unfortunately be a common issue. It's probably an issue that can be fixed in a future software update. Though, I'm not happy with the Wi-Fi performance of the Xperia Z, to be honest. Other people might have the device and might not be experiencing any issues. Though, based on what I have seen with the device and have read online, the Xperia Z doesn't seem to have the best Wi-Fi reception when you take it into different rooms that do not have, the actual modem router in them. So let's see if I can get this to work. So I'm just going to close the speed test app and I'm going to disconnect from Wi-Fi for a second. And I'm going to reconnect. The only reason I'm showing you this in the video is because it has happened to me quite a few times, and in all honesty I think this phone has Wi-Fi issues. If you haven't experienced any Wi-Fi issues, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Now let's begin the test and see if it works this time. Okay, it seems to be going a lot better now. Not quite as fast. They're still, you know, very reasonable. Why won't this unlock? Okay, so we have gotten 28 megabits per second on the Xperia Z compared to 35. Slightly higher ping, though obviously it's going to be different each time, not a big deal. And it looks like the upload speed is going to be slightly slower, not too much slower than the HTC One. Okay, I'm not sure if it's worth waiting for it to finish the test, though as you can see it appears that the HTC One appears to work better over Wi-Fi, in terms of the speed test, that is. Though in my opinion, the HTC One seems to have stronger Wi-Fi reception than the Xperia Z, and the modem router here is only 1 room away, so it is pretty poor. As you can see here, full bars compared to, you know, there's 1 bar missing on the Xperia Z. Though yeah, that's pretty much it for this test. We're going to be waiting here all night for the Xperia Z speed test to finish. It's probably timed out. Okay, the third test that I'm going to do is the benchmark test using the AnTuTu benchmark software. I'm not sure whether or not that is how you pronounce it. So I'm going to start both at the same time so we can see which one, you know, completes fastest. Okay, so the HTC One has just finished the benchmark test, and it looks like the Xperia Z should finish the test, you know, within the next minute. Both of the phones have similar specifications, in case you aren't aware. I believe that both mobile phones have 2 GB of RAM. The HTC One, however, has a slightly faster processor. It has a quad-core 1.7 GHz processor compared to a quad-core, is it 1.4 or 1.5? Yeah, quad-core 1.5 and quad-core 1.7. So, you know, there is a little bit of a speed difference there in terms of the hardware specifications. So nothing major really. But anyhow, let's take a look at the results now. Let's just submit both of those scores. Okay, they have both been submitted. Now let's go to the scores tab in the app. And let's go to, well, first of all, let's take a look at the overall scores. Higher is better. So the HTC One got 22,461 compared to 19,967. Now let's go to detailed scores so that we can compare them. So in terms of RAM, it appears that the HTC One got a higher score. In terms of CPU integer and CPU float point, the HTC One got a higher score. For 2D graphics, it looks like the Xperia Z got a higher score for 2D graphics. And it looks like the Xperia Z also got a higher score for 3D graphics. Database I/O, I believe that's read write. The HTC One was slightly faster. SD card write is identical. SD card read is very slightly faster on the HTC One. CPU frequency is just a different CPUs, as I said before, 1.7, 1.5. Though as you can see, yeah, the HTC One is, you know, faster in most categories apart from graphics, though that might be primarily due to the slightly faster or slightly higher clocked CPU, I should say. Though in comparison, you know, those scores aren't extremely high. If you look at the Samsung Galaxy S4, that apparently got a score of 40,000, so both of these scores aren't, you know, dramatically high. I presume that that score of 40,000 is probably for the Exynos processor or something like that. Though yeah, that's pretty much it for the benchmark test. I would like to do one last comparison, and that is the external speakers. The HTC One has two speakers, one at the top and one at the bottom, and I believe that HTC likes to call this boom sound. They apparently have some technology that utilizes both of the speakers. And the Sony Xperia Z has one speaker on the right hand side here where my thumb is. And also on the HTC One they have Beats audio. To be honest, I'm not sure whether or not that makes much of a difference. It's more of a marketing thing than anything. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song on both of the devices. I'm going to tell you my opinions. I'm not sure whether or not you will be able to notice the difference, in the video, though you can tell me your opinions. Though to make things a bit fun, I'm going to play the Benny Hill theme song from the Benny Hill show. So audio should be coming out of both of these speakers. You can also see the Beats audio icon in the top notification bar there. So it's only when you cover both of the speakers that the sound really becomes muffled. It's got a real stereo sound to it. It actually sounds pretty good for a mobile phone. So that is the HTC One. Now let's try the Xperia Z. I would also like to point out that both of the mobiles were at the exact same volume. Okay, as far as my ears are concerned, the HTC One is the clear winner, though tell me what you think. You can probably notice the differences in the video. Though yeah, the HTC One does have the distinct advantage of having two speakers compared to one. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the external speaker test. Okay, it is now time for the conclusion. Let's quickly go over everything in this video. The point of the first test was to basically see which device would boot faster and load google.com.au faster. The HTC One was the clear winner. However, having said that, it only took 30 seconds for the Xperia Z to boot up and load Google, and that is still a reasonable amount of time, really. Most people don't even turn their mobiles off these days. They just leave them charging on silent overnight, etc. The second test was the speed test over Wi-Fi. The point of this test was basically to show you that the Xperia Z has Wi-Fi issues. Both of these are high-end, devices that support wireless, and they should both really be getting, the same speeds over any network. Though in this case, the Xperia Z seems to have some sort of Wi-Fi software issue, which I've read about online. I can actually show this to you. You might have noticed that the HTC One has had full bars, whereas the Xperia Z has been missing a bar. Though let me go into Wi-Fi properties and I can show you this. So on the HTC One, signal strength is excellent, whereas on the Xperia Z it is only good. On such an expensive phone, you would expect it to have pretty good Wi-Fi, reception, though that doesn't seem to be the case at the moment, and hopefully that is going to be fixed through a future software update. The third test that we did was, the benchmark test. The HTC One, seemed to perform better overall. However, the Xperia Z seemed to perform better with the 2D and the 3D graphics tests. the difference wasn't huge really. You know, I wouldn't say that there was a significant difference really. It was just interesting to see, you know, which device outperformed in which category really. And then after that, we compared the sound of the two devices. In my opinion, the HTC One was the clear winner. And it was really hard for it not to be with the external sound or the external speakers. Obviously it has two speakers and Beats audio, whereas the Xperia Z only has one speaker. So I think it's fair to say the HTC One has better external sound from the external speakers. Now it's time for my opinion. Everyone probably thinks that I hate Sony. I can assure you that's however not the case. You know, I personally have a Galaxy Note 2. I'm a bit of a Samsung fanboy. So out of these two devices, I'm going to be honest, I prefer the HTC One. This device is so good that it's even making me, you know, think about, you know, switching over from Samsung to HTC again. And yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of the Xperia Z, if I'm completely honest. And, you know, the reasons for this are, I think that the camera, you know, isn't as good as people say it is, and obviously I've experienced quite a few Wi-Fi issues with the device, you know, in all different apps, you know, in the speed test app, in the Google Play Store, and, you know, Wi-Fi, you know, my phone's on Wi-Fi 90% of the time. A strong Wi-Fi connection is important to me. And I'm really not happy with that, you know, quality of Wi-Fi on such an expensive phone. So yeah, that's my opinion really. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. If you liked this video, click the like button, subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and thanks for watching.